After the U.S. government acknowledged reports of UFOs may be real, it turns out the truth may not be out there after all. Several U.S. news outlets are reporting U.S. intelligence officials have found no evidence that unidentified flying objects seen by Navy aviators are alien spacecraft. But the vast majority of incidents also did not originate from any American military technology. The findings are expected to be released in a report to Congress later this month. For more, let's go to Victor Vigiani. He is a UFO disclosure expert joining me from Toronto. Hi, Victor.
Good morning, Jennifer, and how are you doing?
I'm well, but I want to know if the truth is out there. This report says no evidence these objects are quote-unquote alien spacecraft, but they didn't originate from U.S. military, so where'd they come from?
Well, it's a clear case of the United States government speaking out of both sides of their mouth. They're trying to cover all contingencies here. They do add that, in fact, they really don't know where these things are from. Now, they're afraid to use the E word, the extraterrestrial word, which I don't blame them for, really, because as far as they're concerned, they don't want to release any kind of evidence that would indicate that all civilizations are in fact visiting the planet. But all indications are that the technologies that the pilots are seeing are a clear indication that none of this stuff has ever been part of any arsenal in China and Russia or the United States. This stuff is so bizarre, and it is a real stretch to admit that this kind of technology actually exists on the planet. They're investigating it, they may be experimenting with it, but they're nowhere close to having craft move underwater and in their Canadian and American airspace at speeds in excess of 12,000 miles an hour and even faster without creating a sonic boom. So clearly there's more to the story than what the New York Times is actually reporting.
And so that begs the question, why would we believe what U.S. intelligence is releasing? I mean, would they even tell us because they don't want to give up?
You can't believe them. Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi. Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi. Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi. Bahashem, Rawcha, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach well and rule well, who taught me this truth in its entirety, according to the Bible. Peace and salutation to the Akim, the fellow laborers, the hopeful elect, pushing this truth at risk of their own lives throughout the four corners of the earth. And to the Aquath listening and learning, Shalom. It's your brother Shema from the Pillars of Benjamin camp here in Toronto, and we'll get right into it, right? And you can't trust anything. She said, why would we believe, right? Let's get a precept, man. Salak. Psalms 55. Salak. Psalms 58. Verse 3, I believe. Psalms 58, verse 3. The wicked, right? And who's the wicked? Esau, Edom, ruling class elites, the banking families, right? The so-called white men, right? The wicked are estranged from the womb, right? Estranged. To come out of the womb, to be separated from the womb, right? They go astray as soon as they be born, right? They go astray as soon as they be born. Doing what? Speaking lies. Let's get back to this video.
Top secrets if it is from U.S. military, but perhaps it's from China or Russia, to your point. How are we to trust what they say?
Well, that's a very good point. It's a matter of trusting the people that are inside, especially the Pentagon. And
look at the heathen dismayed at the signs of heaven, looking up in the sky, dismayed. Jeremiah 10, verse 1, and it reads, "Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahawah speaketh unto you, O house of Israel." Right. Israel being a people before a place. You so-called indigenous, you so-called Latino, you so-called Negro. Hear the words of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. Coming from the mouths of the prophets. In this case, Jeremiah the prophet. Right? Here's a point. Verse 2. Thus saith Yahawah, learn not the way of the heathen. Right? You Israelites, you so-called indigenous, you so-called Latino, you so-called Negro. Learn not the way of the heathen. Right? And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Right? These heathens right now, you saw that clip there looking up in the sky. Dismayed. Right? Let's look into this word dismayed. At the signs of heaven. Right? These so-called, what the world even calls UFOs, which is the chariots of Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi. Right? Showing themselves, plain as day. These heathens are dismayed. Let's look at this word in the Greek, salak, in the Hebrew. For the heathen are dismayed at them. Yeah. I'm assuming it's this. No. Goy, heathen, hatat, I believe it's hatat. Katat. Yeah.
Strong's H 2865. Chathath. Chathath.
Hathath, right? To be shattered, be dismayed, be broken, be abolished, be afraid. Right? Be scared. To dismay, terrify, right? To shatter. And listen, a paradigm shift, the whole belief system of these other nations out here is about to be shattered, man. Right? Right? And be not dismayed at the signs of the heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Right? These signs in the heaven are the chariots, the hosts of heaven, hosts being armies of Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi. Let's continue with this article. And it's going to wax worse and worse. We're going to see more signs of heaven.
All the sources that I have been in contact with over the past 20 years, and I use that number advisedly, indicates that there are in fact factions within the Pentagon of people who want to keep this stuff secret, and there are people who want to let it out. So there are competing forces within the Pentagon that are in one way or another attempting to hide the information or delay it or get it out somehow so that it's not going to be creating confusion and chaos in society. Now, the question of what to believe about U.S. intelligence, that's a very good question, because for 70 years, these factions within the Pentagon have kept this thing secret. And what they're going to release is very important in terms of what the technological implications are. And that's why they're really playing this so close to the vest and not really saying anything specific yet. But eventually, Jennifer, they're going to have to.
Right, they're playing it close to the vest because they want to control the narrative, man, and then put their own spin on it. Right, that's what these ruling class elites are going to do, control the narrative and put their own spin on it. Right, Jeremiah. Let's get a scripture. Jeremiah 23. Jeremiah 23. Jeremiah 23 verse 19, and it reads, Behold means look, a whirlwind of the Lord, Yahawah, is gone forth in fury, right? And whirlwind of what? These chariots, man, right? Whirlwind being great speed, right? Is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind, right? Grievous, painful whirlwind. It shall fall grievously, right, painfully, upon the head of the wicked. And who are the wicked? Esau, Edom, Malachi 1 and 4, right? The ruling class elites, the so-called white man, right? The banking families, right? The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, right? This whirlwind that's going to go forth, the chariots of Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, will fall grievously, right? It's gonna land on the heads of the wicked, man, right? And this is just a precursor of what's to come. And the elites know this. The ruling class elites know this. The high level elites, they know this.
To admit that these things are not of extraterrestrial origins. They're just going to have to say it eventually. It's going to happen sooner or later.
Why do you think this is coming out now then, Victor?
Well, the pressure is on. The pressure's been on since, I would think, back to 2001 when Stephen Greer did a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. That started the floodgates of disclosure in terms of what the government actually knew, with well over 30 witnesses giving testimony, pilots and air traffic controllers and so on. So that started. And then a fellow named Stephen Bassett had a mock hearing in Washington, D.C. in 2013. Lots of pressure is evolving about this. Lots of pressure.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see, even with a healthy dose of skepticism. These are uncharted waters.
They really are, and I think the Canadian media and CTV has to be congratulated for taking this seriously, because this is, in fact, the biggest story in human history. And once the United States government realizes that that is, in fact, the case, the rest of the world will wake up too, and the media will jump on this, and everyone will know about it.
Okay, the biggest story in human history. That's a big flag.
We're not alone, Jennifer.
We are not alone. Victor.
Yeah, biggest story, right? The world is in for a rude awakening, man. You know, precept just came to mind, right? These people are gonna take their idols and throw them in the streets, right? They're gonna snatch their crucifixes off of their rear view mirrors of their vehicles, right? They're gonna throw their idols out the windows. No, that's not the one I wanted. Right, a rude awakening is coming for this for this planet. Right, cast their idols. Right, their idols. All these other nations. Isaiah 2 verse 20. Isaiah 2 verse 20. And it reads, in that day, right? In what day? The day of the Lord, right? The day of doom, the day of destruction, right? In that day, a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, right? All their idols, their Buddhas, their Caesar Borgia, their Kemet, their moon gods. What are they going to do with it? In that day, a man that shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats. The water Yahawashi, Bahashem Qadash. This is what's going to happen. Right? A rude awakening is coming. Let's close out. Jeremiah 4, verse 7. And it reads, the lion is come up from his thicket. Right? The lion. Who's the lion? Yahawashi. From his thicket, his hiding place. Right? The lion has come up from his thicket. The Most High is going to, the Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi is going to make his appearance. He's going to come out of that sky. That sky is going to crack. Right? A thicket. Let's look at the word thicket. Right? A thicket is thick brush, if I'm not mistaken. Jeremiah 4, verse 7. Right? Jeremiah 4, verse 7. Jeremiah 4. Thicket. Salak. The lion is coming from his thicket. Let's look into this thicket. From his thicket.
Strong's H 5441. Sauvage.
Khan. Dag. No, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. A copse. A copse. A thicket. No. Let's go into the etymology. Khan. Close set growth of shrubs, bushes, trees. Right. Right. Blue letter's been playing around, but Esau can't stop us. Right. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. And who's his destroyer? Who's the lion? Yahawashi. Right. He has gone forth from his place. Right. Gonna crack that sky and show up to make thy land desolate. What land? America, beginning with America the Great, Babylon the Great. And thy city shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. Right. With the hosts of heaven, the armies of heaven. Yahawashi is going to show up on the scene. And Yahawashi is going to lay waste to this place. Make it desolate. Let's close out. Psalm 68. Right? Psalm 68 verse 17. And it reads, the chariots of Yahawah are 20,000. Even thousands of angels. Right? The chariots is what the world even calls UFOs. Right? You can't place a number on them. The Lord, right, Yahawashi, is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place, right? So when Yahawashi comes on the scene, it's going to be an invasion, right? And that's why Esau, Edom is scrambling to try and put a narrative on it to control what it is they want to come out, right? But hey, the scriptures are plain as day, man, right? They that have ears to hear will hear. They that have eyes to see will see. I pray you're edified. I don't want Ratazah. Stay prayed up, pray without ceasing. Kwam Yasharallah. Wa Abad Baba.